beautiful geeks, freaks, and weirdos. I hope you're all doing well today. I know, I've been gone for so long. I know. I had a lot going on in my life, a lot of things changed, but I do want to start making videos again, so here I am. So lately I've been on a few crowdfunding sites and I've scrolled a few times. Okay, fine. I've been obsessed a little bit. But through that, I've learned a lot about the concept and processes on a few sites as a consumer. So I wanted to share my knowledge to help those that may feel a bit overwhelmed, because it can be a lot at first. So first things first, what is crowdfunding? Well, crowdfunding is typically used by small businesses for projects that they aren't sure will have an audience and or currently don't have the funds to produce. Because of this, they use the pledge now, pay later model, which I will explain shortly. What these businesses do is they'll run a campaign for a specific themed product for a certain number of days, ranging between 10 and 60 days, though the most common amount of time used for a campaign is 30 days. They will list the project, what they hope to make from the funds raised, and what rewards will be offered for those who support them. They will also list a base fund goal needed for the project to be able to go through. Projects that show up on this site typically involve art or design in some way. Art books, stickers, enamel pins, plushies, clothing line, lifestyle technology projects, board games, video games, comics, graphic novels, etc. I will say, as a warning, that there isn't a filter to remove adult content from the page. So if there is an adult comic book, for example, as a campaign, you can't hide it from your view of the webpage. As such, these crowdfunding websites are geared for adults rather than teenagers or children. If the project reaches the baseline funding goal from the number of funds pledged, then at the end of the campaign, the backers, people who pledge to the campaign, will have their credit or debit cards charged, and the project will go forward with production. If the project does not reach the base funding goal, the people who backed will not be charged, and the project won't go forward. The main sites that I use for crowdfunding are Kickstarter and Backerkit, though others include Indiegogo. GoFundMe is another crowdfunding platform. However, that one does not usually get you anything. It usually is to help other people. Pledge versus purchase. How does pledging differ from a purchase? Well, for purchases, you add the item to your cart and pay when you buy it. Here, you're pledging to a limited time campaign. Specifically, you're saying that when the campaign is finished and it reaches its financial pledge goal, you will pay the amount you're pledged. Typically, it isn't just support funds, though you can do so, but instead pledging for a campaign in exchange for a product. Another good thing is that, unlike the hassle of canceling a purchase, if you decide you don't want the product or can't justify buying it currently, if it's during the campaign's run, you can cancel your pledge anytime you want. This is a good addition for me as a chronic spender, as when I'm in a more rational mind, I can go through my pledges and decide if I actually want them or not, and cancel the ones that I realize I don't want and or won't use. It really saves my bank account in a way that Amazon can't. Pledge tiers. Let's talk about pledge tiers now. So looking at this example, we can see that there are options that people can pledge to. One of something, two of this, the specific kind of what's offered, etc. So you can pledge for whichever one you want. Add-ons. Now, that isn't always the case. Sometimes they offer some things you want, but only as add-ons. This means that you can't pledge for just the add-ons, as they aren't a part of any tiers. Think of it as extra cheese on your pizza. You can't get the extra cheese on its own. You have to buy a pizza and then pay for the extra cheese as well. You need to pledge to a specific tier, and then after doing so, you can add the add-ons you want to your pledge. Sometimes the creators of the campaign will anticipate people wanting only back-ons, so we'll have a tier option to pledge $1 so you can just add add-ons. The stereotypical process. Now, for the typical timeline of a campaign. The open campaign. The campaign opens. This is the freshest time of the campaign and usually the important part. If there's a huge jump of pledges at the start, then most likely the campaign will get funded. That's not to say that campaigns that don't get a lot of pledges at first don't get funded, but it is an important milestone. Early bird. If you are reading the information about a campaign and see the term early bird, or lucky you, see it on the pledge tiers, then you might be an early bird. An early bird is someone who backs a campaign in the first 48 hours of a campaign's launch. As a thank you for supporting them early on in their campaign, many creators will offer special early bird rewards. This either means getting a special additional item with your pledge, a special discounted price, or both. So it's best to pledge if you're interested in a project early on. After all, you can always cancel or reduce your pledge before a campaign ends. Returning backer. A returning backer is someone who backed a campaign by this business before on the crowdfunding website they're using. They typically also get a special freebie thrown into their pledge for supporting the artist multiple times. Something similar is if you pledge to receive an email at the launch of the campaign. Basically, it allows them to gauge interest in a campaign before it happens, and it allows consumers to know when the campaign launches so they can get that sweet early bird reward. Some artists also give rewards to those who use this method, typically included in the returning backer group. Now, this is exclusive to Backerkit, but Kickstarter also has an option to save a campaign so you can get notifications from it. To see campaigns that have yet to launch, on Kickstarter you can filter projects to launching soon, and on Backerkit you can click the option for coming soon. Funded. The project is funded if it reaches the baseline goal that was advertised in the campaign. That means that the project will go into production and those who pledged will get charged. But it's not done yet. Some creators will have stretch goals. Stretch goals. These are more prevalent for artist-based campaigns like stickers, enamel pins, and plushies, but this is where the more money that gets pledged to the campaign, the more designs that will be unlocked. For example, a pin maker may have a baseline goal where the production of 3 pins will happen if reached, but further stretch goals that will unlock more options to choose from if more funding goals are reached. Stretch goals can also be freebies included in every pledge. They state that if you want a stretch goal that isn't unlocked yet, that you should pledge the amount that you would spend if it was already unlocked in order to get it unlocked faster. I think this makes a lot of sense, but you have to be careful for campaigns where it's uncertain that it'll be unlocked. Keep watch until the end of the campaign, and changing your pledge accordingly a few days before it ends is the best practice in these situations, in my personal opinion. Fully funded. Fully funded means that the entire campaign has reached its funding goal, including all stretch goals. This is an exciting moment because it means you have all the options available to you to choose from once the campaign is over. That being said, sometimes if it reaches this point, businesses may create additional stretch goals to keep the progress going. This is especially true for plushie and pin campaigns from what I've seen. Updates. Now, don't think the creator can leave you hanging. During the campaign and after it, Backerkit and Kickstarter requires the businesses to post updates that you are automatically subscribed to when you pledge that detail the current campaign process. This can help you to remind you of a campaign and see what options they have, update you of stretch goals reached and new ones added, and just help you get to know the creators a little bit. It can also help clear up information as you can comment on these updates. Success! When the campaign reaches its end, you'll get a notification through email if it's reached its funding goal or not. If it did, you'll soon see a charge on your card go through for the amount you pledged. Don't be alarmed if it doesn't say Backerkit or Kickstarter on it. They process the funds for 2 weeks for the businesses, but it is the businesses that charge you. The survey. Now, what if you pledged for something where you have multiple options to choose from? Or you need to let them know of your shipping address? Never fear. After the success, generally 2 weeks after, but definitely not always, the business will send out the survey. The survey is where you make your choices and give your address, but depending on the platform of the survey, there is more you can do. There are 3 main server platforms: Kickstarter, Pledgebox, and Backerkit. Kickstarter does the base of answering questions, confirming your choices, and giving your shipping address. However, once you submit your response, you have 10 minutes to change your answer before it locks. This lock does not apply to the shipping address. Oftentimes, the address is able to be changed until just before the items are shipped out. Pledgebox does all that Kickstarter does, but also allows you to add on any add-ons that were available in the campaign, and sometimes even those that were added later on by the business. This one also does lock after submitting, though. Backerkit is the most pliable of the surveys. Not only does it do all that Kickstarter and Pledgebox does, but you can also change your pledge level in the survey, and it doesn't lock until the creator locks it, meaning that you can change your answers every week if you want to until the creator chooses to lock it, basically. Typically, to know how much they need to order. Pre-order store. Now, a term you might see in updates and on the Backerkit homepage is pre-order store. What is that? Now, pre-order stores are not for people that pledged to the campaign when it was live. Instead, it's for those that missed the campaign while it was live. For a period of time while the items are in production, some businesses will open a pre-order store where people can order the items that were funded. Now, this one does work like a pre-order. You are charged on the spot, but don't get your item until it's ready to be shipped out. Wait game. Now, because pledging happens before the item is in production, there's usually a long waiting game. It can be as short as 1 month to 1 year, but the creators need to give updates during the process or else risk getting reported and banned. But eventually you'll get a tracking number to await your precious pledged product. Final product. And then voila! You have the product in your hand and you can enjoy it. Not gonna lie, sometimes it's such a while since I paid for it that it sort of feels like a gift. But as always, this is the best part of the campaign. Pros versus cons. Now, there will always be pros and cons to this type of shopping. The pros: it's good for those with FOMO, fear of missing out, and impulse spenders. As a member of this group, the time left after pledging allows me to go through and review my pledges when I'm in a more rational, finances saving mind, and lets me cancel those I realize I don't actually want. It supports small artists. Since many of the businesses are small enough to need those pledges to go into production, being able to support smaller artists achieve their dreams is a very fun thing to be a part of. That being said, sometimes larger businesses try to sneak into the space. I remember seeing L'Oreal with a campaign several months ago. They're one of a kind. Since these are small campaigns with a certain amount of funds, what's produced in these campaigns tend to be limited edition. You rarely can get them anywhere else. Cons. There is a long wait time before you get what you pledged for, typically a few months, though it can be shorter or longer depending on the product. Because the campaign is before production, most of the time you have to wait for the business to receive the funds, go into production, get the product, ship it out, and only then does it get to you. So it isn't the best if you aren't sure where you'll be living for the next year. I won't lie. There is no guarantee that you will get your pledged product by the creator or the platform. In fact, this is something specifically written that you have to acknowledge if you're going to pledge for anything on Kickstarter. Due to this, you'll hear horror stories of someone pledging to a campaign and never getting what they pledged for, with the business going radio silent. This is unfortunate, but definitely not the norm. Because these are small businesses, the items are going to be more expensive compared to mass-produced products found at Amazon or in Walmart. So we've reached the end. I hope this was helpful to those that may be a bit confused by crowdfunding platforms. I'll try to look at comments and answer any questions people might have, but please remember that I'm a consumer like you and I don't have all the answers. All of what I said I gathered from my months scrolling these sites. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you can leave a like, and if you like my content, then you can subscribe if you want to. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, year, and lifetime. Bye.